Ladies and gentlemen, the password is officially here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. Welcome into the third video of the day. Guys, we got a 3-video day and a live stream day. My God, chat, we are living. And these are some of my favorite videos to make, right? And I'm assuming these are some of your favorite videos to watch. It's always fun to talk about someone realizing their dream, someone making an achievement that very, very few people in the history of the world have actually accomplished. And when it's one of your top prospects, it's even more exciting. And that's exactly what this video is about, because we got some really exciting news just a couple of hours ago. Our friend Katie Morrison O'Day actually reported that she had seen Yostin Garcia, aka the Password, getting some congratulations and packing his things in the Worcester clubhouse. She then later sort of responded to that tweet and said, yes, confirmation that Yostin Garcia, again the Password, is going to be joining the Boston Red Sox at the major league level. And this is absolutely fantastic. Garcia's been having a storybook year, right? He came into the season as the Red Sox number 14 prospect. We haven't really, we covered him a bit. He was an exciting guy, but there was much more impressive talent in the system coming into the year. However, throughout this season, Jhostynxon has really started to make a name for himself. He made his first All-Star team. He made his first top 100 prospect list throughout this season. Now, he's the number 5 prospect on the Boston Red Sox, and a large part is due to the fact that he has been, flat out Barry Bonds at the AAA level this season. The 22-year-old right-handed outfielder is currently slashing .303 with a .367 on base percentage and a .564 slug for a .140 WRC plus in 66 games. He also has 17 home runs, 56 RBIs. The dude has just been flat out killing it at the AAA level. So what should we expect at the major league level? What Yostin Garcia could look like at the major league level is incredibly intriguing. I just called him the Barry Bonds of minor league baseball, right? And I don't expect him to come up here and be the Barry Bonds of major league baseball. We already had one of those. Probably not going to have another one of those maybe ever, right? But at the same time, too, when we're looking at the profile of Yostin Garcia, we're looking at a dude who has a ton of pop. He had 20 home runs this season before coming up to Major League Baseball. He had 20 home runs in the entirety of minor league baseball last year. This is a guy who can hit the long ball. He makes some very, very loud contact, especially to the pull side. That right-handed swing should play pretty well at Fenway Park. Now, obviously, he's not making his debut at Fenway Park. Really cool that he's going to be making his debut against the New York Yankees in the Bronx in one of the biggest series of the Red Sox entire season, right? That's the kind of stuff you dream about when you're a little kid in the backyard hitting balls to yourself, right? But at the same time, too, on top of the power, he also has a really interesting eye at the plate. Now, he does have some swing and miss in his profile. This year really jumped up in AAA. It's at about 27.3%. Throughout his career, it's been around that 20% mark, and that's always been a part of his game. But something he's gotten back to a little bit this season is that ability to sort of draw a walk, have that good recognition at the plate. If you're going to swing and miss at pitches in the zone, okay. If you're going to chase pitches outside the zone, well, that's a little bit of a different story. And while he still does have some issues with some off-speed stuff, and one of the bigger things that they've been focusing on with him down there is really creating a generalized approach to off-speed pitches at the plate. He's seen his walk numbers increase a little bit. Between 24 and 25, he's increased that walk rate up to about 9.9%. Now, if that was at major league level terms, that'd be in a pretty elite category, right? That'd be well above league average, and the Red Sox could absolutely use somebody who's not only a guy who can hit a whole lot of home runs, but also a guy who could draw a walk when he needs to. So it's going to be really interesting to see what his bat ends up profiling out at the major league level. Are we going to see a lot more of that swing and miss? Is that going to jump up to 30, 33%? Are we going to sort of see that 3 true outcome type player where it's a strikeout, a walk, or a home run? Or is he going to even him out a little bit? Because in the minor leagues, again, there was a lot of contact. He was getting on base a pretty decent amount. The average was always pretty well above 250. He was always sort of getting on base, but we'll see what that looks like at the major league level. One thing that I think is going sort of underrated here in terms of how Jhostynxon can impact the team is his defense. defense. Everyone kind of focuses on the bat, right? That light tower power tends to draw your eye a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's a poor defender. In fact, he's actually a really athletic defender. He spent a lot of time in center field in AAA, but he's played all over the outfield throughout his minor league career, and basically in every single position here, he's been an above average defender with an above average arm, good reads, and solid speed. And that to me is incredibly important, right? Can he be a solid defensive player as well as a solid offensive player? All signs are pointing towards a yes. Now, he does have some experience over there at first base, and by experience, I mean one singular game over there at first base, so I'm not really expecting him to end up getting a whole lot of reps over there at first base. I would imagine maybe, he becomes that sort of emergency backup first baseman, but if we see him at first base, I think something's gone wrong. We're mostly going to see him in the outfield. Basically, if you combine all of Yostinxon Garcia's sort of profile here and what he could look like at the major league level, what we're kind of talking about is a right-handed WIlyer Abreu, which is kind of ironic because that's exactly how Yostinxon Garcia got here. Because obviously, in order to get Jhostynxon up to the major league level, something needed to happen, right? Unfortunately, they can't carry 27 men just yet, and we'll get to that in a second, so someone needed to go. And unfortunately for us, that's WIlyer Abreu heading to the IL, as it was announced after Yostinxon Garcia's promotion was confirmed. Now, if you guys remember, he pulled up sometime in that Miami Marlins game, tagging on a sac fly to home, ended up saying I was just a little bit of a calf issue, should be good to go by the Yankees series, and that kind of felt like the way it was. Something must have turned, right? Something must have happened here that the Red Sox sat there and they said, nope, we're going to hold off. We're going to put you on the IL, make sure you're 100% before you can get back, and ultimately that kind of sucks, right? The Red Sox just lost a really important player, specifically when it comes to their home run potential. I don't know if you guys know this, but WIlyer Abreu has 22 home runs in the year. That's the most in the Boston Red Sox. I feel like kind of quietly, he's been one of their more productive hitters. I think it's mostly quietly because he's so streaky, but anytime you lose that amount of power in your lineup, obviously it's going to hurt a little bit. Now, I don't know exactly how long WIlyer Abreu is going to end up on the IL. My guess, at least at this moment, you probably know by the time this video comes out, but my guess at this current point in time is that WIlyer Abreu is going to end up on the IL for either 10 or 15 days. And what that would do ultimately is it would bring you to the September call-up date, right? Because this is kind of important now that Jhostynxon's here. If you're going to call up a guy like Yostinxon Garcia, like we talked about with Roman Anthony, like we talked about with Marcelo Meyer, you're probably not going to bring him up here for a cup of coffee, right? He's probably not going to be up here for 4 or 5 games before you send him back down. Ideally, with a prospect like this who has as much potential as Yostinxon Garcia has, you want him up here for the long term. And by putting WIlyer Abreu on the 10-day or the 15-day, it kind of brings you directly into that September call-up situation where your rosters expand by 2 players. So there's a real potential here that Yostinxon Garcia is not only here on the Red Sox, he's here to stay on the Red Sox. And we'll kind of see what that ends up looking like, right? There's obviously the potential that they backdate WIlyer Abreu's IL stint and kind of bring him back as soon as humanly possible. And Yostinxon is really up here for 3 or 4 days. But my logic here is that you're a week away from getting to that September call-up deadline. So even if he does end up getting sent down, he's probably going to be sent right back up. So I think Garcia is going to be here to stay. Either way, though, you look at this all around, and it's good news for the Red Sox that came out of a bad situation. I think that's the best way to put it, right? WIlyer going down sucks. It sucks a lot, but getting a guy like Yostinxon Garcia up here is incredibly exciting, right? A lot of the success that has come from the Boston Red Sox this season has come on the backs of guys who are brand new to Major League Baseball or in their second year Major League Baseball, right? A lot of their success has rode on the hearts of these young kids, and now you're adding another one of these guys who is extremely talented, who could end up being an exact replica of WIlyer Abreu from the right-hand side here, and that's a ton of fun to think about, right? We've been waiting for this pipeline to match up with the Boston Red Sox. We've seen what it's done throughout the rest of the season. Now we're seeing what it's doing in terms of the depth that you have. You're replacing this guy who is a home run threat, who is a gold glove threat in the outfield with a guy who's a home run threat, who's an above average defender in the outfield. I don't know if I'd put him in gold glove status yet. I think we're going to have to see him at the major league level, but that's the kind of depth you have right now, right? And this is why this Red Sox team has been able to be so successful this year, and it just continues. Plus, ultimately, again, like I said, it's just incredibly fun to have a conversation about some guy realizing his dream, especially in New York versus the Yankees in a series that the Red Sox really got to do well in. It's pretty cool opportunity. Hopefully you can take advantage of it. But at the end of the day, I'm excited to see what Yostin Garcia can do. If he continues to do what he's doing in AAA, he's going to be a ton of fun to watch. But let me know what you guys think. What are your opinions in the comment section down below? What do you think of Yostin coming up? What do you think about WIlyer getting hurt? How do you think it impacts the Red Sox? Let me know all your thoughts. Again, I'm not going to go through the spiel, but subscribe if you want to. We talk Sox sometimes 3 times a day. Also, make sure you guys have liked the video. Helps it out a ton. I will see you guys. Hopefully, this is the last video before 7 p.m. tonight. But either way, I will see you live 7 p.m. tonight right here on this channel. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.